For this little movement exploration, you could lie on your back, you could lie on your bed or on the floor, or you could also lie in a recliner, sort of semi-supine, so halfway back. You want to be nicely supported by the surface that you are lying on. So if you'd like, you can place a little pillow underneath your head or even a little bolster underneath the back of your knees. Come to settle in and get comfortable. Adjust your legs, adjust your arms, remove glasses or belts, and just make yourself comfortable to be here. Just take a moment to notice how you are today, how you feel resting on the floor in your chair. Do you feel comfortable and settled? Do you feel content? Or is there a little bit of discomfort, a bit of agitation? You feel a little stressed, and you can feel that in your body. Bring your hands to rest on your low belly, so somewhere between your belly button and the bottom of your pelvis. And just let your hands rest either side comfortably on your tummy. And as your hands are resting here, can you start to feel the rise and the fall of your belly as you're breathing? And just notice as you're resting your hands here, is there movement? Maybe your thumbs and your index fingers are moving a little bit, but the little finger is pretty quiet. Maybe you feel that there's more movement on one side, so one hand is moving a little bit more than the other. And you don't need to change what you feel, you can just sense the movement of your fingers, sense the movement of your belly. Bring your hands to rest on your lower ribs, so above your belly button, on those ribs that you can feel coming through a bit more strongly than the softness of the belly. And just notice your breathing here, sensing the rise and the fall. And noticing, is there a little more movement underneath certain fingers? Or even one hand is moving a little bit more than the other. And you can feel, is this a place that I breathe? If I'm not instructed to breathe in a particular way, do I feel that this is a natural place where I move and the breath comes in and out from here? How does this area compare to when you had your hands on your low belly? Is there more or less movement here? Bring your hands up to below your collarbones, right up on the top ribs. And again, let your hands settle in. And just notice if there is movement here as you breathe. Again, there may be more movement on one side. And you may have started to notice that there's more movement on one side at the low belly, the ribs, and the chest. There's a kind of a preference, a bias to breathe into one side a little bit more. But just notice if this is a place where you breathe easily, naturally, when no one suggests a way for you to breathe. Leaving your hands resting here, could you start to intentionally breathe in to these upper ribs? That you start to allow the breath to enter into and to leave from this area. Feeling the upper ribs, below the collarbones, around the armpits, the lungs, these upper parts of the lungs. You can feel that I could breathe intentionally into this upper area of my chest, and then I could breathe out intentionally from this upper area. Now see if, as you play with this idea, that you are not trying to force breath. You're not trying to make yourself breathe with effort into this area. But rather, you recognize tension in this area. And see if you can sense, where could you give up tension so that the breath could find its way into this area? It's the tension that will inhibit the breath coming. So when we're looking to find more ease with our breathing, we want to see what tension we can give up around the shoulders and the shoulder blades at the back of the ribs, around the armpits. Maybe you notice as you are exploring, finding more ease in the breath being allowed into this area, that actually there's tension in the throat, the jaw, the tongue, the back of the neck, that you recognize, oh, actually, I feel like I need to give up the tension there. Opening the jaw a little, softening the tongue a little, softening the eyes, letting the head really rest into the surface that you're lying upon. And then you find, oh, the breath does come more easily into these upper ribs. Can you find yourself giving up tension? Giving up holding and efforting. And that in that process, the ribs become available for receiving the breath. That all we're really doing is just noticing where it is that we're working a little bit too hard. Maybe we didn't even realize we were holding tension there. But that when we give it up, the breath comes in. The breath comes in and the breath leaves. because nothing is stopping it from doing so. Bring your hands down to those low ribs. And sense in yourself, where are you holding tension? And what tension are you willing to give up so the breath can find its way into these new little spaces of your ribs? Again, maybe the tension is not just below your hands. Maybe it's around the back of the chest. Maybe it's around the sternum. Or maybe again it's around the head and the eyes, the jaw and the tongue and the throat. Maybe it's lower, down in the belly, the waist. Maybe you feel tension in the hips. And somehow there's a recognition that that tension somehow is connecting to this lower rib area. Breathing into the low ribs and breathing out from the low ribs. But not because you are making or pushing or forcing breath into this area, but because you are giving up tension that is inhibiting the breath from finding its way here naturally. Tension around the solar plexus, or around the organs, the stomach, the liver, the kidneys, the pancreas and spleen, the diaphragm, and the bottom of the lungs. Giving up effort. Giving up tension. And then bring your hands down onto your low belly. And letting your hands rest on your low belly. Noticing the little movements of your fingers. And just noticing, where is there tension? Where is there no movement? And you realize that no movement means that you're holding those muscles. Again, it might be in the jaw, in the pelvic floor, and the muscles around the hips, the legs, maybe the hands and the feet. That we are just listening and sensing for, where is this tension? Maybe in the low back. And can I sense as the breath comes in, as the breath goes out, that I could give this tension up? feeling the organs of the low belly, the digestive organs. There could be a little space, a little movement through these organs. The bladder, the sexual organs, the pelvic floor yielding, softening, widening. Place your hands wherever you would like them and start to get a sense that you could breathe in to your belly, your lower ribs, your upper ribs, into the front of you, the sides of you, the back of you, but that it is an effortless breath, that you are not pushing ever. You are simply giving up, inhibiting the breath from finding its way into those places. Noticing where there's perhaps a little resistance and seeing if you can, in that place, soften, yield, allow the breath. And when the breath comes out, that it can be soft and gentle, returning, folding. Feeling how all we need to do is to give up that habitual tension, to let the breath just come in and go out without halting or controlling where it goes. Can you do nothing? And just feel the breath in all these beautiful places through your belly and through your chest and through your back. And the eyes are soft, and the face and the mouth and the jaw, the neck and the shoulders, the arms and the hands, the chest and the belly and the back, the muscles of the pelvis and the legs and the feet. That you can be supported by the surface you're resting on completely. And you can give up any work and just feel this beautiful breath as if it's finding its way into all the corners of the skin of your whole body. Meeting those places of tension. And yielding. Sensing as you rest here how you change the places that gently kiss the surfaces. That as we breathe, we nestle into the floor and the chair in different ways. And there is nothing we need to do. This just happens. Fall into the feeling of breathing.